individuals, so many professionals here on the platform already. We have Mrs. Bumi Adbola, we have Mr. Adili Godwin, we have Mr. David Ogenepamo, Precious Oladipo, Mrs. Esther Okoye, Mrs. Juliana Atuaya Udunsi. Thank you all for making it up to Mrs. Gift Igoni. Thank you all for making it up to this moment. And we have our professor, our safety expert, our safety ambassador, who is here to enlighten us today and educate us on a very important aspect of health and safety. So the introduction is going to be very brief. The introduction is going to be very brief, so it can start the moment where we continue to admit people into the section. Hopefully we have a full class. Even without that, like we all see, our videos will always be available on YouTube. It will always be available on all social media platforms. So even after the section, and it's a recorded section, after the training, we have it recorded, edited, we have it available on our YouTube live. Currently, we are live on YouTube also. So it means that we can also watch us live on YouTube in case we have a full class and we need to have more people. So thank you all for making it up to this moment. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your presence. So we have with us Mrs. Ambassador Mrs. Comfort Ekwe, or Ekwe. Yeah. She is a qualified. Qualified is, to me, is an understatement. She is a qualified QHSC, that's Quality Health, Safety and Environment professional practicing in Nigeria, a passionate safety ambassador. I'm very sure she is a safety ambassador for WSO, and that is a very huge one. She is also well respected in the field of health and safety. When it comes to health and safety in Nigeria, before you mention, you definitely hear or mention her name also. And she is very self-motivated. She's a very self-motivated Nigerian occupational health and safety consultant. She's a consultant and also a trainer with more than 15 years of practical experience and boardroom experience. So practical experience means the practical aspect, she is very vast. And also when it comes to management experience in handling health and safety challenges, that is boardroom experience in putting it in pen and paper and in tables and discussing about health and safety. She is very vast and well experienced. So thank you, Ma, for taking up your time to educate us on this very, very important topic. When you gave me the topic, when you gave me the two options, I was like, we are going for this. This is not common. This is a topic that needs to be discussed. And thank you all. Thank you for mentioning it, for bringing it to us. And we would love to hear from you and learn from you. Over to you, Ma.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wale. I truly appreciate you having me. This has been long overdue. I want to say you are doing well, and together we can do more. I want to appreciate all our leaders here from various industry level. You are all welcome to this session. Thank you for joining as we learn together. I will try to make it very interactive so we can all share knowledge and learn from each other. So I will please ask Mr. Wale, can you help me to share my screen, please?
Yes, you can share your screen. I made you a co-host, so definitely you'll be able to share your screen. And I'm also making Mrs. Juliana, in case network surprises me here, I want to make some other people admin also, so that in case the network gives me a kick out, I will have people to keep handling the session. So we have Mr. Godwin. Yes, Mr. Godwin is there. Mrs. Ituaya Juliana, Mr. David, almost everyone. I will make most people admit so that they will be able to continue the section. Thank you and God bless you. Mr. Aziz too, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity once more. So we'll be talking about emotional intelligence in HSE management. I think this is not very new to a lot of people here, but it's something we can always talk about every time. The introduction has been done, so I will not dwell on this. We just move on. Just do it safe. Okay, so we're going to have this learning outcomes. We need to understand what emotional intelligence is about. Why is it important? Why in HSE do we need to be talking about this? What are the misconceptions about it? What are the competencies we need? I've seen a lot of us when we write our CVs, go for job interviews, people say, oh, I have this skill, I have that skill. So let's check how they relate to the job in the field. So we're also going to look at some strategies to increase the skills. That is very important. So before I proceed, I have this grid that I always meditate on daily as I go about my personal and work activities. So we are going to read it out together. All the panelists can also share their voice in this, and it goes, Dear God, grant me the ability to see the world from another point of view, and to identify and understand their situation.
Feelings and motive in order to
support them stay safe
without harm
to others or the environment. Today, I resolve to be tender with the young and inexperienced, understanding with the expert and strong,
compassionate
with the aged, sympathetic with the striving and tolerant, weak and wrong. At some point, I may have been all of the above. May I not be judgmental or arrogant, but act as humanitarian, brave and courageous as a king towards humanity.
So help me
God. Thank you very much for sharing in that grid today. It's something you can always look at and just meditate with it, even while you're having some difficulty in your work field. It helped me sometimes before now, and I just look at those words and I see people, I see myself in people's situation when faced with challenges on how to deal with people, how to apply emotional intelligence in the field of HSE management. So this is the icebreaker. We're going to look at ourselves facing her new boss and being asked to be very open, enjoy our time with him. We should come out straight, talk about anything that bothers us. And then we now respond with a squeaky chair that we are sitting on. And here goes the response of her boss on the right-hand side. He said, "You ungrateful Winnie Rachel." Now put yourself in this new employee's situation. How will you feel about this, your new boss's response? I would like to hear one or two persons tell us what they will feel if they were given this kind of response from someone who told them to be open and tell them straight up whatever it is they want to talk to them about. So just two persons. Tell me if someone said to you that you are an ungrateful Winnie Rachel at work just because you are complaining about your seat as an HSE person or a non-HSE person. What will be your response? Please, two persons should be permitted to speak. Thank you. Wally, can you please permit just 2 persons? Thank you.
Yes, they can unmute the individual who wants to say something can unmute himself. Please kindly mute yourself while you join the section. We have some underground noise and we might want to take us out. Please, if you have a response, please kindly respond.
Move on. In the absence of none.
Hello, can I say something?
Yes, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
we have someone who wants to say.
Yeah. If somebody says that to me or my boss says that to me, I will just say thank you very much. I won't be angry because maybe he said it based on the situation or the mood he is at that moment. So I won't take it personal. I'll just say thank you and I will come back later when I see him in a good mood to discuss my situation or my condition with him. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response. You will not say anything. You will say thank you. Yes, please.
Okay. To my end, I'm Sunday Sam. To my end, if I complain, you give me the floor to do this, and then I complain, telling you of what my plagues are, and that was an answer you gave to me. I don't see myself. I will not answer. I will not give you a feedback. But I don't see myself putting in the best in that job. And if you should check my mind, that might just be the day I've left the job emotionally.
All right. What's your name again?
I am Egon Sunday.
Egon Sunday. Thank you very much for your response. And to the ladies first, the lady took the floor first. May I have your name, ma'am?
I'm a male, not a lady. That's Anthony Bono. Engineer Anthony Bono.
My apologies for that. Okay. So you've all said it the way you will handle it. You will handle it with your reality. And we appreciate your responses. I will show you my own response to that later. But for now, there is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. You've said your truth, and you will expect your boss to take your truth. All right. So let's move on. So for the benefit of those who are joining this session as non-HSC persons, you have seen the emotional intelligence. You may have known the meaning. The HSC there means health, safety, and environment. HSC management is a proactive, risk-based approach to managing workplace hazards throughout an organization, not at the safety department alone, not at the top management level only, but from the top to bottom and bottom to top, across board. Hence, emotional intelligence comes in here to create the awareness for yourself and others, put empathy in your dealing with people. Social skills, capability is also coming in here through emotional intelligence. We have motivation and how to regulate yourself. So let's look at this emotional intelligence. What are the skills that are required in it? So we've seen here on the slide, you have what you can see. What you can see will be how you perceive your environment, where you are at every given time, and what is happening around you. Your social awareness is your network at that time, the people you're interacting with. You need to understand yourself, you need to understand others, and you need to apply another skill called self-management. That's what you are going to do. You may not be able to manage another person if you cannot manage yourself, if you're not aware of yourself, if you're not aware of your environment, which leads you to relationship management. In relationship management is like you have a situation where we just use as an icebreaker, your boss and yourself, and your boss telling you to share what you feel about the workplace and what are your challenges and whatever can be done to improve your work processes. So in this case, you are meant to apply this 4 as an HSE person, which are the core of emotional intelligence. We've seen a lot of professionals with what we call technical skills, which are the subject matter expertise you have in your chosen career as an HSE person. So the emotional intelligence part of it comes as your soft skill, which is beyond your intellectual quotient. Okay, so what now is this emotional intelligence? It will be your ability to recognize your own feelings, feelings of others, to be able to motivate yourself and others, to manage your emotions, as well as managing other people's emotions, to be able to achieve success in your day-to-day activity and your relationship with them, according to Daniel Coleman. Daniel Coleman is like the father of emotional intelligence globally. He is the one who has authored so many books that you can find about emotional intelligence that can give you a more robust insight into emotional intelligence and how you can apply in different fields that you may choose to be. So how do you manage this knowledge in line with your technical skill? You need to think about in safety how we have the psychosocial hazard, which is what is closely linked to your emotional well-being, which also is linked to your emotional intelligence. The emotional well-being of a person or the mental health of a person will greatly influence what that person does, how the person handles situation, how the person relates with people, how the person performs. Without emotional intelligence, it will be difficult for an expert to perform very well on any job. All right, so let's look at how the two differs. When we say intelligence, there are 2 types of intelligence. We have here the emotional intelligence, we have the intellectual intelligence. Your intellectual intelligence is what you were born with, which is the IQ that you hear people say, oh, you have a high IQ or you have a low IQ. Then emotional intelligence deals a lot with your ability to manage your emotions and that of others in a constructive way towards achieving desired goals. Okay? Now, one thing you need to know, emotional intelligence or quotient can be learned at any age. It is never too late. If you run a test after this training and discover that your EQ is very low, what you need to do is put in some goals towards improving it. And I kid you not, if you improve your EQ, even if you are the most intelligent person in the room, truth is you may not be getting desired results in whatever you are doing today. But if you try to work on your EQ beyond your IQ and then join the two together, you see that your performance is going to be greatly improved, even in an organization. I want to also let you know that organizations have taken it upon themselves to train their employees on this soft skill called emotional intelligence in every department across board, have seen great improvement in their overall performance. And that leads to productivity, and that also leads to reduced losses, reduce downtime, reduce presenteeism, and all of that. People can be present at work but not doing their job. So IQ, you can have IQ as an inborn attributes, something you are born with, but you cannot start becoming intelligent. If you're not an intelligent person, you're not an intelligent person, but your emotional intelligence can help you survive in today's world beyond your IQ, all right? So if you are bothered, how do I start having this emotional intelligence at my age? I want to remind you that it is not rocket science, okay? It's not rocket science, it's not magic, it's not a wish. It is something that you need to put conscious effort towards learning. And if you learn the skills, if you think differently, you will get the desired result. Let's make a case for emotional intelligence in every workplace. Put yourself in your company right now where you are. And globally, researchers have done a great job in this aspect globally. And it has to do with talent. What can people do to improve organizational productivity, performance, HSE performance, for instance? Let me tell you something. If you have worked in a company where people are unhappy, where people are depressed, where people are having mental illness and nobody has noticed, there is going to be a great deal of incident in such organization, because EQ will be responsible for 58%, according to a research from Talent Smart. They said 58% of performance, positive performance, is as a result of a high level of emotional intelligence. They didn't say IQ, they said EQ. Now, in the US, 29,000 people with high EQ make what? 29,000 more annually than their low EQ counterpart. Now you may begin to wonder, how come somebody that I have more certificate than is getting promoted at work, he's getting new jobs, getting new opportunities, being called here and there, and the person is making money, the person is gaining a lot of followers on the social media, maybe not social media, sorry, but let's talk about network generally, professional network. Your ability to make good friends, make great connections, build meaningful relationship could actually be give you a good result or a bad result on your general turnover at the end of the year. So if you're able to build good relationship with people and look beyond the actions of people, but understand from where they are coming from, you'll be able to still do what you need to do without being taking things personal. You know, some people take things so personal that they fail to even perform their responsibilities and duties accordingly, and that turns to what? Low productivity. Top performers 90% of the time have high EQ. What will trigger you so much that you will do something that will affect something that will affect another thing that will now impact on your life? You need to ask yourself, what triggers me? If you know what triggers you, you'll be able to work on preventing your triggers. It's just like saying you are emotionally, you are psychologically down, you are having work-related stress. What are those stressors? You are depressed. What's making you depressed? You are angry. What's triggering your anger? What's making you angry? You need to identify them. And that is understanding yourself, self-awareness, understanding your environment. What are those things that are happening around you that are bringing out these emotions in you so much that they have impact that could lead to negative reactions? Are you reacting or you are responding? That's another question I want you to put at the back of your mind. When anything happens around you, you need to ask yourself a question. Am I reacting to this thing or am I responding to it? Now let's watch this video. This is a safety person giving a toolbox talk at a workplace, and this is a colleague responding or reacting after being triggered by something. You see that? That's Jackie Chan and the safety officer. Wow.
He's on record. Leave him.
And what could the other employees, if you were in this place, what would you have done differently? Or if you were the safety officer?
He's on record. He's on record. Don't worry. He's on record. He's on record. Don't worry. He's on record. Don't worry. He's on record for this. He's on record. He's on record. No. He has no right to stop him. We are on safety record. No, he has no right to stop him. The man is on safety. He has no right to stop him. Why? He has no right. No, he has no right to stop him. He was the one who left that place to come and stop the safety meeting. He has no right. Don't worry. He has no right. He's on record for this. He has no right. And this one, we are going to take it up seriously. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. Don't worry. He has no right. The man is conducting a safety toolbox meeting. He went there and then disturbed the safety meeting. He has no right. Don't worry, come on. Don't worry.
Everyday safety officer, safety manager, safety supervisors are faced with this same kind of situation. Are you prepared to handle this when it happens on your site or in your workplace, violence at work?
Pick up your bits. Just pick up everything. Everything.
All right, thank you for watching that video. Comments are welcome, and we want to know how you will handle this differently. I think, in my own opinion, that was violence at work displayed, their aggression, outburst, anger, frustration, and also it showed the level of safety culture in the organization, and it shows the level of emotional intelligence across board, and most especially as a safety person. How will you rate yourself if you were this safety person here? Will you say you were defending yourself? Will you say you were doing your job, or you were reacting, or you had any reason to react? If everybody keeps reacting this way in every place of work, the workplace will become a war zone. Before it got to this level, there were signs of a situation like this happening.
Hello, ma'am. Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I've created a poll for us to respond to the questions. Participants to please respond. And the question, like you asked, what will you have done differently? Make a record, fight back, keep quiet, report to management, resign, go to the village people. So we have a poll already. Let us vote and let our trainer
Awesome.
give us the response later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That's awesome. So let's move on, then we will discuss the poll at the end of the class so we can save time. Okay. Let's look at the words of a famous leader said, anyone can be angry. That's Aristotle. He said, anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within anyone's power and it's not easy. Here is simplifying what emotional intelligence is. You need to learn it. Nobody was born with that. You learn it over time based on your experience, exposure to situations, your environment, and your mental health at that time. That guides your emotional intelligence. You can be angry, but be sure that you are angry at the right degree, with the right person, etc., etc. What is expected of you as a safety person in your place of work? Now, you need to look at that situation. What happened there was, there were people and they were in a place and it was a time and there were words. Can you identify what triggered that person that caused the fight in that workplace? Was it the words of his colleague? Was it a past situation? Was it where they were? Or was it a situation? As an individual, is it the things that people say that triggers you and makes you react? Or it is the people around you? There are some people that once they see somebody that they hate at work, their whole day is messed up. There are some people that once they are in a particular place that they don't like to be, it could even be their job, they are not happy, irrespective of what happens. There are people that when it's that time of the year or the month, they are not happy. And it could be that a word somebody said will not make them happy. Now, we are going to do another check here. There are negative and positive situations that can make us angry, that can make us react, that can make us respond. There are some people, just like I talk about situations and people, places and time. There are some people that if they tell you good morning, you are angry, you are upset. And there are a set of people that even though they tell you good night in the morning, you are happy. Why? It's your mind. It is not the morning or the night that is getting you upset. It is not the person. It is what is inside of you that is reacting. All right? So these are the negative triggers, reactions that can make you, emotions that can make you react differently emotionally. So you need to check this. And in the last 24 hours, in the chat box, tell us which one of these emotions have you felt and how have you handled each of them? Maybe you felt more than 2 or 3 of these emotions. Can you let us know in the chat box? Just list, if you felt more than 1 or 2, just list them. Let's see. There are series of emotions here and reactions. Please list the ones you felt in the last 24 hours.
Please drop it in the comment section. What the emotions that you've experienced. There's no need to raise our hand. It's on the comment. Just write it in the chat section. Let us just have it. Yes, we have it there. Please.
Sorry, what did you say?
I saw someone raising up his hand, so I'm telling them that it should be on the comment section, not by raising up their hand.
Okay, comment section, please. We can discuss some of these emotions and how they can influence your reactions to situations that happens around you. Okay, I want to see someone that has felt lost. Maybe let's give room to someone that has felt lack of interest and exhaustion to speak. What has made them feel that way? Let's make the class interactive.
Yes, I have something to say about exhaustion. Exhaustion can be there, right? Can I go on, man?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, talking about exhaustion, sometimes when you put in so much effort and you have so many things to do, and you are seeing yourself doing so many things, getting tired, burn out, and you are not seeing results as you expect. Yes, it's what has led to exhaustion in my own case.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. So let me just buttress that point. Exhaustion is not a positive emotion. However, you can balance your life to prevent this. As HSE persons, why do we need to do shift work and short breaks in between? Why do we do that? We do that so that people don't get overly exhausted and become underproductive. Okay? So if you are constantly being exhausted at work or in your personal life, it's actually going to affect your emotions, how you deal with situations, or how you manage the people you are meant to manage in the workplace. Because the brain, it's a part of the body that works like a machine. Over time, if it gets overloaded so much, it becomes useless. I was doing a toolbox talk in an organization some years ago, and I said, some of you have been so worked up, refuse to go on your leave to a point that you have become overused and you are not actually useful to the organization. And I said this out of a presentation and the subject matter at that time. Unknown to me, 75% of the employees were in that situation, and it was actually affecting the company. So you may think, okay, let me keep going. I need to finish this, and you keep going to a point that you break down, you become useless. Sorry to use that word, not because you are a useless person, but you cannot function optimally anymore. So you are not producing results, you are not meeting goals, you are not meeting objective of what you are doing. You are just doing something and doing nothing. So when you become exhaustive, everything can eventually lead to irritability, whereby you are meant to pass the right information across to the team, but you are passing the wrong information because you are not coming from a place of, you are not coming from an organized place. You are scattered, and it's a negative emotion. How do you prevent it? you need to reorganize your life. Okay, we are all guilty of this in Nigeria. We are mostly exhausted, but we can work on it, because it will, if you are exhausted, you are going to spill it over to the next person that you are meant to work towards improving their performance, especially in terms of errors, preventing errors at the workplace. We've had in the production floor where people are producing out of expected quality. Why? Because they are tired. Some of them are individually working towards getting overtime paid, or the organization is overworking them because they are understaffed. These are things we need to look at. And permit me to inform you, when you get so exhausted at a point, you get overly stressed out, and only you, the stressed person, can tell yourself you're stressed. There is no medical diagnosis for work-related stress that will say, oh, this person, let's carry out this blood test or this temperature to show that this person is stressed out. The stressed person is the one who will know they are stressed, and you should know when to call it a day. Thank you very much for that point. Let's listen to the next person that could talk about frustration or lack of interest, please. So these are not emotions you need to allow to be a part of your life. You need to deal with them, and that's where the place of work-life balance comes in. I'm giving room to another person to talk about lack of interest or frustration, please, at work.
Yes, we have Akim Mukhtar. Yeah, he raised up his hand. Yes, please,
Mukhtar, can you speak, please?
Please, can you unmute yourself, Mr. Akim Mukhtar?
Good evening, sirs. Good evening, ma. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. So when we talk about the lack of interest and frustration, I think currently, I personally am undergoing that currently. And majorly, you know, at a point whereby being a young emerging HSC professional, and you keep trying to bring up innovations, you keep trying to bring up ideas on board, but you know, your linesman, your lines managers who believe in their old way of doing things, and they believe probably you are trying to outshine them just because you are bringing up idea on board. And at the end of everything, they see it as a political term, like you are a threat to them and making the work a little bit difficult for you. To the extent, if career advancement is being opened, they try blocking it. So at the long run, all what it could end up doing is to start making someone lose passion and interest in driving HSC in the company and just trying to play the way they play the ball around, like, you know, just pulling back. You hardly think, you hardly bring up innovations anymore, just because you believe you don't want to frustrate some people in the system. And at the end of everything, indirectly, emotionally, it's demotivating. Emotionally, it's making one lose passion and getting to lose interest in the job, just like going to work, just because you are going to work for going sake and not even feeling fulfilled with your career. So I think that's currently what personally I'm experiencing. So when we talk about the lack of interest and frustration, I think it could be as a result of external forces, whereby some, due to criticism, bullying, and trying to hinder you from your career progression. So that's the thing I think I could say about it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mukhtar, for sharing your experience on negative emotions. Your emotions are valid. They are not out of place. As a human being, situations will make you feel this way. Now, I'm interested in you getting out of these negative emotions so you can have a healthy emotions. So if you're feeling lack of interest and frustrated because of the way the workplace is, there is an answer for that. The answer is one, choose to ignore those emotions for now and look at the brighter side of life. If this is not happening, what else could be happening? How can you personally contribute to what you desire to happen? What can you do? And who can support you? Who can help? You can be of assistance to. Is it the same boss that is triggering your emotions negatively, or someone else in the same organization or outside your organization? And here is where a professional coach beyond a mentor comes in, life coach comes in, and also your loved ones, people who can genuinely love and support you. You need them at this stage. And also, what can you do to change your position, your role where you are? Because there are a lot of opportunities for you as an emerging professional. What can you do differently that will not lead to a burnout, that will not lead to confrontation? You need to look at such areas as well. And also, if you need support, there are a lot of professionals in Nigeria, in Lagos, in different parts of Nigeria that can also provide support for you. Feel free to contact them on a personal basis to get the necessary support you can get. Also, your boss, you need to be understanding. That's where you need to apply management, self-management. How do you manage what is happening to you? So that is why we're having this class. As we get along, you will learn some more on this. Thank you for sharing. So, talking about HSC. HSC is actually being managed by people like Muftar, like myself, like Wally, like Julian, like Choma, etc. So, why do we have to talk about emotional quotient in HSC? Why is it an important topic? Listen, we all deal with people, colleagues, we are dealing with colleagues, we are dealing with top management, we are dealing with stakeholders, we are dealing with contractors, we are dealing with regulators every day as HSC professionals. We are dealing with our line managers, just like Muftar shared his personal experience. Now you can see all of these people here. You're also dealing with even the community where your company is operating. Example is where I come from, we have the oil and gas operations there. And every time you could hear, I don't work in my hometown, but I hear a lot of stories, what's been happening before I was born and after I was born, and even up till now. There are sometimes my Kingsmen will go to the company's gate and lock the gate and say, nobody should walk here. And if you check the risks of that action, HSC is also always being affected at the long run. Also, the operations of the organization sometimes is actually the reason why such actions are being taken against the organization. Talk about you as an HSC person being asked to do an environmental impact assessment of your company's operation before they start or after they've started, which is the right way is to do the impact assessment before the organization starts, so you can have a proper environmental management plan in place. Now, your company paid a quack to CIA. Can we mute where this noise is coming from, please?
You can, I've dropped the person in the message section.
All right, thank you. So we have some people who are quacks in the industry, which we are aware of that. Some companies do not contact the right people. If you are an HSC person and you don't have a technical skill in a particular subject matter, please do not present yourself as such. When you do that, you are going to hurt the emotions of some people. You are going to hurt the employees of the organization. You are going to hurt all the stakeholders, the regulators, the executives, the investors, etc., etc. Why? If an EIA is being done by a quack and is not done properly, and you now come to think of how the environmental management plan will be, it will be nothing to write home about. It won't give the intended result. Now, when the company starts operations, or while the company is operating, there's going to be a lot of environmental impact from their operations. When this environmental impact happens, what do you think is going to be the consequences? The community may be having resource depletion, they may be having oil spill, they may be having social vices within their communities, and this is going to lead to what? Civil unrest eventually. If this is not properly handled, the organization may have to pack out of the community. Why? Because the people are not happy. Don't forget, frustration is a negative emotion. When people lose their source of livelihood because of your own business operation, there is going to be a retaliation and a consequence. And this is why the place of emotional intelligence, you need to understand where you are, what you ought to do, and do the right thing to prevent certain effects, to prevent certain impacts from happening in where you are operating as a business, as an organization. So emotional intelligence will guide you on how to approach your stakeholders. I have a case recently where a business was approached for an inspection by a regulator, and they were chased with cutlasses. And we asked, why did this happen? Why did it get to that? And the response was that we are not saying it is right for any business to do that, any business owner to be violent with any regulator. But in the past, they've had instances where the company the regulators have failed in their duty to the businesses. So while they were chased, the complaint was that somebody from that same agency had collected money from that business, a bribe. They collected a bribe and they promised to help them get a certain license that they never got. And now another set of inspectors are coming to that same business for enforcement action. And the business owner or the management reacted. Though the way they react was wrong, but also what the government agency did was wrong. So how could this business have handled this? They could have approached the agency using the right channels without violence. So what I did was to ask, does this company have an HSC representative? And they said, yes, they have. And he was not happy as well. And I was like, that person has done the company bad by allowing such to be reported about the organization. Two wrongs, they say, cannot make a right. So HSC persons need to understand when to say yes, when to say no to their management, and how to say it. You can be angry, but remember the right time to be angry, to the right degree, when to the right person, and all of that. So if you, as an individual, you're having difficulty discharging your duties as an HSC person across board, the organizational engagement and performance will be a result of you, the HSE person's performance. So the school of thought that says that emotional intelligence is actually better than intellectual quotient is not wrong on this basis. Because if HSE manager of a company fails to discharge his duty and to meet the needs and expectation of all stakeholders, without people getting frustrated, without people getting fed up, angry, irritated by him, etc., the result of the organization will always be with statistics above 0. And what are we aiming at currently? Vision 0. No company wants to have incidents written against them or recorded in the organization. But the way you manage your safety processes can lead to incidents happening and being recorded. Your statistics rising daily. All right. So how do you engage in the organization? Do people trust you? As an HSE manager, officer, supervisor, coordinator, director, whatever role you occupy, can people trust you to say, with what this person is asking us to do, with what he has done, we are comfortable to work within set goals, within set rules, within set regulations and requirements? Are you in a kind of workplace where people are daily complaining and you are not doing anything about it? You are not even observing the emotions of the people you are working with. You don't even observe your environment. You are not able to understand from where they are coming from. When people complain, do you just keep a close ear to their complaints, or you go back to analyze and check why? Are people motivated to meet the HSE target of your organization? How are you capable? How are you doing this? Look at that. Are you personally motivated to do your job as an HSE person, focal person? Let's talk about change. Are people capable of adapting to the changes in your organization? Are they consulted before they happen? Or when you want to come up with a new equipment or a new procedure, you and your boss sit down in your own office, design everything, finish it there, and boom, you go to the shop floor. This is what we'll be using from tomorrow. People will not welcome that change. I hear people say, these people, they cannot change. The culture is bad. Who is the driver of the culture? It is the HSE person. It is the top management. It is the workers. All right? The three come together and decide what should be, and then they work towards how to make it be. That's how you manage a system. Teamwork. Talk about teamwork. Do you work in silos, or do you call other people to come together, look at their respective responsibilities, support them to meet their own goals and the organizational goal and even the departmental goal? What about the strategic objective of the organization? Is it only known by director and managers? Does everybody in the organization know so they can work towards achieving it? Are people at the various departments collaborative to meet these corporate strategic goals of the organization? If I ask now, if we draw a pool here on this, in this class, and ask how many people are aware of their own company corporate goals for 2022, we will be shocked at the kind of results we will see. And I may challenge us to do that. Let's say, okay, in the year 2022, what are your organizational strategic goals at the corporate level before we even go to departmental? You see that people are just working, not knowing what is happening. Some, maybe it was in one meeting that their manager, because he needed it for a report, he mentioned it, but afterwards, nobody knows what's happening. we need to change as HSC persons. If people don't feel part of a system, part of a process, they don't have that sense of ownership, they are not going to give it a best shot. At execution level, are individuals focused and accountable? If individuals are focused and accountable, they will be able to do their job with positive emotions and not negative emotions. The strategy of the organization is embedded in the organization, the people, and the operations, and is being guided by these 5 pillars. Trust is the center of it all. Motivation, change management, execution, teamwork. Without this, the HSC department will be working alone. And that vision 0 of the HSC department of the organization cannot be met. So let's do things differently. Let's look at how HSC can stand hand in hand with emotional intelligence. It extends to emotional and mental health of workers and the communities where we work. There are some regions in Nigeria that are being rated as highly volatile currently. The security risk is so high, is currently on red alert, red alert. Why? The companies are not paying attention to the signals that have earlier been sent. They are not looking at the body language of their communities. HSC persons, we have a lot to do. This is beyond safety alone. Talk about the health of the communities of the workers in your organization or around your organization. Is your operations impacting on the health of the people? What are you doing about it? When they start to react, how will you respond? Safety. We have some operations that are impacting on the lifestyle of people around where they work, where they live rather. We have some highly industrial communities in Nigeria, and we have HSC persons that are helping the companies to carry out illegal activities. If you're an HSC person and you are not having that mindset of humanity, you are killing the people, and safety is not a part of you. You are just a criminal collecting salary and abetting illegal activity. You need to stop. Think about when the people start to react. What will you do? What could you do? What will you have done differently? We have so much social vices today in different communities as well, being carried out by people working in the companies that reside in those communities. We ought to change her ways going forward. As part of the risk management process of your organization, always ensure at all times that the psychosocial hazards of your organization are given the same attention as you give to all other hazards. When people say they are depressed in your company, what do you do? Do you just fling it off your head? Or you get them a counselor? You try to be a counselor if you have the capacity, and support them, give them necessary support, because that will also be consequential in their actions, in their performance. Now let's look at how these psychosocial hazards come. In which form do they come? When people have work-related stress, depression, bullying, and harassment at work, people that are working alone or remotely, what support are we giving to them? When there is violence in the workplace, look at the video we just watched some minutes ago. There was violence in the workplace, and there was a reaction, not a response. That was a reaction from the safety person. What could he have done differently? The pool has been set. We will look at it and discuss it after the class. But let me remind you that the psychosocial hazard of the workplace is as important as the mechanical hazard of the workplace. They ought to be given attention. When people are working without supervision or poor supervision and sometimes no support, you are building a room. You're building a very big room for incidents to thrive. When there is high job demands, people get frustrated and worked up, fatigue. Then some result. I've recently heard someone tell me that in their workplace, the artisans take, in the construction industry, what the artisans do is take all these sachet drinks, alcoholic drinks, just so that they can have energy to work. And it sounds really crazy. What will be the result of the quality of work that such people will be putting out in that organization? And how will you rate the safety of the people that work in such environment? It means a lot of things can happen. There are hazards that you must look at. Stop searching for what can cause injury physically alone. Also look at psychologically what can cause injury that you cannot see so that you can prevent. Breaking news. EQ is one of the current most sought for skills in professionals. Go for it, acquire it, own it, and help yourself grow in it. EQ is not artificial. It is not artificial intelligence or knowledge that you think you can just wake up and pick up the shelf. You need to build on it. It is different from book wisdom, okay? It is one of the most critical leadership skills. I took a course on this because I was at a point in my life where I really needed to apply it. And since I started that course, I fell in love with emotional intelligence to a point that it has improved me to be a better person and to be a better leader. People with high emotional quotient always make great leaders. Check the likes of our great leaders in the industry today. My father in the safety industry, Engineer Jamiu Badmus, check how he relates with people, check how he carries out his job in his own field, check his relationship with people, check how he manages people, look at the kind of circle he's building. You will see a great deal of emotional intelligence in that man. Check Prof. Dapo Amolade, check Mr. Wale Bakare, check Monica Wosu, check Mrs. Fayo Williams, check Wali, check a lot of, if I've not mentioned your name, just know that you are highly respected in the industry as long as you are doing something great that is impacting on the leaders of the future. You are implementing emotional intelligence. For you to gather, to gather 5 people every week is not an easy task. You are doing great. That's a skill. You have been able to build in your environment. You understand yourself, you understand your strengths and your weakness, and you are applying it to get people to come on this program every week and do presentation that is impacting globally is a great deal of emotional intelligence being displayed there to follow up on people, to get people to even accept to come. People don't have time, but it takes the right approach to get people to answer when you call. All right. So for you to be a team player and promote safety, go and learn how to do it, read about it, follow up on experts that are doing it well, ask questions, and you will get results. Listen to the, let's look at this Travis Bradbury and Jane Graves emotional intelligence series. They said 90% of top performers are high in what? Emotional quotient, also known as emotional intelligence. 20% of bottom performers are what? High in EQ. A little effort will make it grow. And you should also see here that about 60% of success at work is driven by emotional intelligence. And people with high EQ on average make more money. Emotional intelligence is the foundation for critical skills. In the boardroom, without emotional intelligence, some people will seek bad boosts, just like we receive in some of our political forums. Sometimes you see chairs being carried, dropped on people and all of that, just because someone said something that didn't sit well with someone. If you do that in the boardroom, the company cannot grow. So if your organization is one that welcomes ideas, that listens to people, that accepts criticism constructively, even the safety department, we don't know it all. That is why the suggestion box is necessary in every safety department, in every organization. See what people have to say. Maybe the way you carried out the toolbox talk last week could have been better, and somebody has something to say. Please understand from their own point of view. Put yourself in their shoes. Apply empathy. Don't say, do you know how many years I've done this safety? Do you know how many years I have been trained? Do you know how many numbers of certificate I have? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You don't know it all. I don't know it all. Together, we build knowledge. And that's how the body of knowledge is being formed. You go to great institutions. Nobody wakes up and say, I come up with this fundamental idea today, and that is what it is. It will go through peer review. It will go through several reviews, acknowledgements, endorsement before it becomes a fact. Even a research goes through statistical calculation, analysis to assess and prove the error in it and remove it before it becomes a fact. You cannot tell people you know it all and you want some people to listen to you. If you know it all, then keep it to yourself. People don't need it. So as HSC persons, we should remember that our soft skills is what will help us thrive. If you look at this tree, there's a lot in this tree to learn from. This tree on this particular slide, look at decision making is under emotional intelligence. Look at stress tolerance. How are you able to manage stress when faced with so much workload? How are you capable of handling it? You apply the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence: empathy, teamwork, presentation skills. Since some people who say, I'm a very shy person. And I kid you not, sometimes these people have HSC level 6 diploma. And you wonder, so what again do they need to learn in HSC? They may just lack presentation skills. They say, I'm a shy person, I can't do presentation. No, you can do it. You just need to learn it. Befriend someone who can do it and learn from them. Because for you to communicate to people in a language that they will understand, you need to have the skill. It's part of the skill under emotional intelligence. Social skills, how do you relate with people in the industry? Customer service, if you're a business owner, if you're a top executive. You don't forget, HSC persons, please, you are also responsible for customer service. Why? You have internal customers. All the people in your organization that you think you need to manage their risks are your customers, your internal customers. Without the right approach, you will not get the result that you expect. You need to be flexible. People need to trust you. You need to be assertive. You need to be able to manage anger. Some days ago, I was in a certain place and I was confronted with a kind of a situation that could lead to conflict. And at the end of the day, I was able to manage it. And the person that was with me was probably her first time seeing me in such a situation, and she said, I was scared for you there. How were you able to handle it? I said, I didn't need to react. I only responded. And that was what helped the situation. Because if I was not managing my anger, I would have reacted the same way that the person had brought the conflict and could have led to something else. So that is another skill you need to learn, anger management as HSC persons. Please, let's clear these misconceptions today. Emotional intelligence is not about being nice. You don't need to be very nice and positive at all times. It's about balance. Know when to respond and know when not to respond. Just like the safety person that was fighting his colleague at work. Fighting being a reaction may not have been the best response to that. Somebody could have been dead in that site. It means letting emotions run freely or being completely robotic. No, it doesn't mean that. Women are not better at their emotions than men. Men are actually more emotional. If I'm wrong, please tell me so in the chat box. It's not about how intelligent you are. It is not also genetic. You cannot acquire emotional intelligence from your parents. You cannot acquire it from anybody. You need to build it up on your own by making a conscious effort. It's a personal competence that you need for everyday survival. Now, this is the good news. Emotional intelligence can be developed. People can feel before they think and act. If you want to get somebody's attention, first of all, they need to feel what you have said to them. They need to put themselves first. Human beings are highly emotional beings. So whatever you say to people, always be very clear. Let it be the truth. Let it not bring negative emotions in them, but be guided also. So that you are not just saying yes, yes, even when you should say no. And that is why one key thing I tell people in this profession, you do not have any permanent friend, you do not have any permanent enemy. At all times, say it as it is, but be guided to be aware of when, how, and who to say it to. It is possible to change people's responses to their feelings based on your approach. These changes have a positive impact on individual or team behavior and performance. And the workplace performance can be highly impacted from people's individual reactions or responses. In order to be successful and fulfilled nowadays, you must learn to maximize your EQ skills for those who blend reason and feelings to achieve the greatest result. Now, let's look at these scenarios. We have different scenarios here whereby each individual is faced with emotional intelligence situation. It exists on a continuum. Here are the scenarios. Number one, on self-regulation. These are like the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence that you can thrive on or you can fail if you do not get this right. On self-regulation, assuming you're in a meeting and your boss criticizes you in front of your co-workers or colleagues after presenting your HSC report, and you made an error in the report, what will you do? What are you supposed to do? If you have a higher EQ, you will maintain your composure. It is difficult, but it's something you learn over time. You can't just wake up and someone tells you off in public, someone rants at you, someone criticizes you, and you just take it. But over time, you learn how to build on this. In some cultures in Nigeria, there's a part of people being very respectful. Maybe the culture can help for some people. But the most important thing, aside the culture, is your level of emotional quotient, being able to help you to handle such scenario. So what you do is politely excuse yourself and process your emotions in a safe environment, not walking out of the meeting room. Check and correct the errors that you have made, and also meet your boss with the corrections letter. And if possible, don't give too much excuses. Own up your errors, own up to your mistakes, and work towards preventing them. That's what a highly emotionally intelligent person will do. But somebody with a high EQ will start to become very defensive, giving all manner of excuses right in front of everybody why they did the report the way they did, claiming there is no error, even when the error is so evident. Also, as a boss, if you have a low IQ, if you have a low EQ, emotional quotient, it is the reason why you will criticize your subordinate in front of everybody. The right thing to do will be to address them later, and also in front of everybody, try to see if you have the right information to that report, present it by supporting. That's teamwork. Assess your environment, then self-awareness. First, remember who you are, remember who they are. You are their superior, you are their superior, they are your subordinate. So you should put yourself in that space of a leader that you know better than them. Then you give them the necessary support. Then you can address their mistakes and errors behind the scene. That's how highly emotionally intelligent people behave, not making them look the fool in front of everybody. So you don't storm out of meetings because someone criticizes you. You don't address a co-colleague that you feel you have so much certificate than the person publicly with their weaknesses. Address their weaknesses privately and see how to support them. That's teamwork. The second scenario is how to apply empathy. Your colleague tells you that it hurts their feelings when you fail to complete your part of the assigned task, thereby making them work overtime and almost missing the deadline. You trash their contribution and tell them it is rubbish to their face. Now, when that happens, somebody with a lower IQ, what would they do? They will find it difficult to understand why their colleague is upset, and they will feel attacked by the criticism. But a higher leveled, emotionally intelligent person will explain to the individual why they dropped the ball, why they couldn't meet their part of their assigned task. And this should not be something that happens every day. There should be a valid reason. And tell them that you understand their hurt, then come up with an action plan, how you can compensate and improve your performance on the job. That's the right thing to do. These things are not written, are not taught in university as part of your degree, but they are survival skills you need at work and in your personal life. And we have different scenarios here. I'll just read the one for social skills, which has already happened in the video we watched earlier. You're on a toolbox talk and it doesn't seem to be going well. A person with a higher EQ will ask open-ended questions, maintain good eye contact, and practice active listening to know where the problem is coming from and how to resolve it. But a person with a lower EQ will stop paying attention and decide on his own that there must be something wrong with everybody in this toolbox meeting. And it will end the session or even cause a fight. It's happening every day in our individual places of work. I've heard safety officers say, I'm not going to hold a toolbox talk meeting anymore in that company. I'm not doing it because they are just annoying me. That's not the way to do it. That's not how to go about it. Now, is it possible for someone to make a decision without emotions? Can we also get a pull on this? Is it possible to make a decision? Hello? Wally, can you hear me? Are we together?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. We can hear you, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am, loud and clear, ma'am.
All right, I'll soon be rounding up. So let's have a poll on if it's possible to make a decision without emotions. I've heard people say, don't be emotional about it.
Ma'am,
Yes,
we have
yes,
to address the first poll so that we will now create
before
that.
we can do the next. Okay.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right,
to
thank
make it
you.
easier.
Okay, thank you for that. So let's do this so I can be sure my audience is still with me. Thank you. So what will we do differently? Watching that video of a safety person fighting a colleague at work, what will you have done differently? 42% of the people said they will make a record of the incident. Okay. 2% said they will fight back. So these 2% are the cousins and brothers of that safety person. They fought back. 15% said they will keep quiet. Well, it may not solve the problem. The fight will still continue. 74% said they will report to management. Okay, good. And 6% said they will resign. This is happening a lot in Nigerian workplaces. We've seen a lot of safety professionals resigning because the workplace is becoming too hot for them, but that's not the solution. We've also had 2% said they will go to the village people and address the matter before the gods of the land. Okay. Thank you very much to all respondents. Your responses are valid according to your understanding of the situation and your individual level of EQ. The right thing to do in that scenario was to respond, not react. Look at the person making that threat or whatever it was and approach them calmly. Yes, it's a slap on you as a man for another man to threaten you, to raise a hand on you and all of that. But who are you first? You are an humanitarian. Your actions should not harm the life of other people, should not bring losses to the workplace or harm the environment or cause injury at work. Those are the 4 things you must always remember when faced with any situation before you respond. So the right thing was to find a peaceful approach and smile at the guy and tell him, can you please give me a minute? Let me hear you. What is the problem? Then you listen to his problem. If it means for the toolbox talk to have ended right there and then, just so the workplace will be safe, you may have to do that. It's just like you are in your workplace now and you are having on site a violent attack from an intruder. Are you going to, if you're not a security person that is armed with the skills to deal with that, with the equipment to deal with that, are you going to go to retaliate to an intruder? No, you're not going to do that. If you do that, you're going to put the lives of everyone at the workplace in danger. That is the exact time that your emergency response plan would have been activated. That was violent attack. You treat it as a violent intruder coming into your workplace, and you should have that in your emergency response plan. So reporting to management is good, but before you do the report, there are things you ought to have done to have made the situation safe for yourself and for others. What if you hit the person and the person died instantly? What if the person was able to succeed at hitting you? So when you activate your emergency response plan, If it means to stay calm, then you stay calm. If it's safe to escape, you escape. That is the right thing to do. And alert the security personnel and raise an alarm for help. Are we together? Did we get that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's my response to this.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's move on. Is it possible to make a decision without emotions? Any decision, whether it's to change a job, whether it's to ask for salary increment, whether it's to marry, whether it's to buy a new house, whether it's to invest, whether it's to do a risk assessment at work, whatever you want to do, is it possible that you make that decision without emotions as a human being? So let's get the poll out, please. Okay, so let's move on while you're sorting that out. Antonio Damasio said, reason without emotion is neurologically impossible. But if you said you can make your own decision without emotions, give your reasons, please. Let's know from what point of view you are coming from. Because in conclusion, if your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you are not able to manage your distressing emotions, if you can't have empathy and have effective relationship, then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far in life. That is a fact. From Daniel Coleman, the father of emotional intelligence. And he did not just wake up to say this. He has carried out so many researches. He has spoken to a lot of people. He's an authority in the field of emotional intelligence. And he's telling you this, and I don't doubt this any bit. I believe it. And I know that if I apply this, if you apply this, we are going to go far in life. Because your technical skills alone are not going to help you go far in life. So, what are the strategies to be used to increase your emotional intelligence skills? You need to first of all know where you are before you know where you want to be and where you are going. So,
hello,
yes, sir.
So we have the poll already. Please let us respond to the poll. Very important, quickly, while we continue with the session.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I've seen it. So 100% said no, that it's not possible to make decision without emotions. That's a poll from cumulative of 24 respondents, now 25, now 26. So it's increasing. So I think there are more people that want to respond. Maybe I give it another 1 minute. So yes, I think we can just conclude based on the facts before us. The numbers, statistics don't lie. If there are no statistics, then it's all been my opinion. So the statistics, 86% says they cannot make any decision without their emotions. And they are in my own school of thought as well. For me to be here today to speak to you, I have to first ask myself, is it important for me to be here? Who is asking me to be here? How relevant is my presence here today to the host, to myself, and to the HSC community? That's emotions. I have to look at the pros and cons of my presence in any place before I'll be there, except I'm not free. But if I'm free, I don't have anything to do. I can't just wake up and say, no, I'm not going to be in that place. There must be a reason why you want to be in a place. Before you come to this class today, there is something that prompted you to come here. Either you want to learn, or you like the host, or you like the subject matter. Emotions plays out there. Your awareness of how relevant this training is what brought you here. And that is tied to emotions as well, your reasoning. All right? So let's move on. As at this moment, we have 37 respondents and 89%, a larger number, still says they cannot make any decision without emotions. When you want to toast that fine babe, is it not because she's beautiful that you are toasting her? When you want to go for that job, that new job that you are eyeing, is it not because the company is big and fine, or they pay more money, or you think the company has a good structure, or they have good benefits for you, or it will help your career plan before you decide to join? Will you just wake up and be in a place because you just want to be there? There must be a reason, and it's tied to your emotions, how you feel about it. If you don't feel good about something, you wouldn't want to be part of the thing. That's the truth. So let's check how you can improve your skills on emotional intelligence to make better your life. So first of all, you need to test your emotional skills. You need to test your emotional capability. And how do you do this? There's a free tool here on mindtools.com, quiz that you can use. So you can go to the link here, which I can share this slide after the training with Wally. You can get it, and you can go through, you can just click on this link. Also, if I see, I may post it on the chat box as well. You will run a test. It won't take you up to 5 minutes. Just click on the response, the questions and the answers as it applies to you. There's no need to lie. Nobody will score you 100% or 2%. Be truthful to yourself so you know what you want to work on. If you do this assessment of your emotional intelligence, you will know your weaknesses and your strengths, and you will become a better person. Perhaps you lack empathy, and somebody without empathy cannot be a safety person. A safety person is an humanitarian. You must have the love for humanity. You must care about the welfare of people. You must be interested that people don't get hurt or killed at work. If you're an employer of labor, you must care for your employees to be able to apply HSC in your workplace. You must be able to understand your own self, your capability as a person. You must be aware of your environment at all times before you can improve your environment. Now, after doing this assessment, pick the skills you need to work on. Pick 3 strategies, have a goal, how you are going to go about improving this skill. Also choose an emotional intelligence mentor. There are a lot of mentors, coaches out there on emotional intelligence. There are school of thought. You can find some free online. There are Nigerians that are experts in emotional intelligence. You meet them in areas where you have challenges. The reason why some of you are not getting jobs currently or promotion is because your emotional intelligence skill is very low. And it could just be the deal breaker for you. It could be the deal breaker currently, and it could be the game changer for tomorrow. Hence, keep the following in mind as you do this test and start this journey. Expect success, not perfection. Nobody has scored 100% on emotional intelligence assessment. Since I started delivering this course, I've not seen in any class where somebody scored 100%. I have not scored 100%, but I'm better than where I was 5-6 years ago. And you can be the same as well. You can always be better. Where you think you have strength today may be where you are failing tomorrow. So keep assessing yourself biannually, that's 2 times in a year. You see improvement and you know where to address, what to address rather. Practice, practice, practice. Learn how to communicate effectively with people. Learn how to manage your anger. All of those things you saw on that tree. People's management, anger management, stress management, all of that are the soft skills that builds up your emotional intelligence. And be patient with yourself. Do not think that what you know today, you knew 10 years ago. What you know today, you did not know 10 years ago. Some of the things you knew 10 years ago, you've forgotten. So keep practicing, be patient with yourself, but always measure your progress. Thank you very much for attending this session, and questions are now welcomed. Here ends the presentation. Thank you for listening. Sorry, this took too much time than we planned, but I believe the whole presentation ought to have been exhausted before we could end the session. So sorry for keeping you for too long. If you have contributions to make, you have questions, please, the floor is now open. Thank you very much for having me, my brother, my leader. You are doing so much, so great, Wally. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the attendees, all the leaders presented here. You are highly recognized, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Number one, I'm not yet the leader. We know the leaders. You are the leaders in health and safety. You are our leader in health and safety. We are still we are young boys, young professionals coming up. We are looking up to professionals like you to learn from you. Thank you so much, man. It was me personally. It was never a waste of time. You are still very much on time. The program is to start from 5 to 7. So, and we started somewhere around 5:20. So you are still within time. Thank you so much. Now it shows that you just displayed another emotional intelligence, trying to make sure that everybody's comfortable with what you just did, and that is very sound and warming. Yes, we appreciate everyone's presence. Your presence is much valuable. Every single person present is very valuable here. You have taken your time to join us on this on yet another section, educating section, enlightening section. I really appreciate all your presence. Without your presence, we might not be doing anything. So thank you. If you have any question, we have one person. We'll be entertaining maximum of 2 questions because of time. And if you can also drop it in the comment section. It was well enlightening. It was well informed training. Really, the exposure is very high. I've been hearing about emotional intelligence, and I've not gotten the time to actually go for a training, because this training on emotional intelligence, anger management, stress management, they are very, I must tell you that they are very expensive. And these are 1 day, 2 days trainings. And you'll be hearing the cost of the training is 50,000, 70,000 naira. And now Ambassador Comfort Ekwe has decided to give us for free, totally for free. These are skills that we need. So people used to ask me, Mr. Waliu, do you have a certificate for this training? Do you have a certificate for this training? I said, it's not always about certificate. Even if I'm going to use certificate to us, the certificate is not an internationally recognized certification. It's just a certificate of participants, which you might not need. But what is more important is the knowledge you are gaining from experts like Mrs. Comfort Ekwe. I really appreciate all what you just did to us. This video will be available on our YouTube channel. In fact, we are live on YouTube, and I'm very sure after the section, you can go on YouTube to go and watch it any day, anytime. The materials will be available very soon, and we'll communicate and spread it across all the platforms that we belong to on WhatsApp. So we have first 2 persons who raise up your hand. Engineer Daniel, you raise up your hand later. But if these 2 questions are answered before 7 o'clock, definitely we will call you to ask a question. The first person is Mr. Amo Tawhid. Please unmute yourself and ask your question, sir.
Yeah, thank you so